Matt Steininger here for the Longmont Observer, and I'm talking with Eric Hozempa with the Longmont Community Foundation. How's it going, sir?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I am doing honky-dory myself.
Good.
For the Longmont Community Foundation, what is it and what do you guys do?
Oh gosh, we are here to improve the St. Vrain Valley through philanthropy and charitable leadership. The way that we do that is we actually have 3 pillars, if you will, that we accomplish that. The first pillar being that we have a community endowment or a community fund. It's like a savings account. It's called the Live and Give Longmont Fund. And it is from that fund that we actually have a collection of volunteers come together, review grant proposals from nonprofits. Each year we get about 100 applications from nonprofits, and the volunteers will whittle those down until we have just a few that we actually give monies to. They actually go out and visit the organizations, they review the grant proposals, and then it culminates in April when we actually give out those dollars to the community and to those nonprofits. Our second pillar, if you will, is we are actually here for specialty funds and donors, individuals, families, businesses that actually have their own fund with us. So envision it'd be like a foundation underneath our umbrella. So instead of creating their own private foundation, they create what's called a donor advised fund. That is a way for them to actually put money or assets with the foundation. Those are invested, and then they can actually give out grants whenever they want to various charities throughout the year. So they can give those locally, they can give them to the places like the Hour Center, the In-Between.
So basically they're controlling where the money that they donate is going to?
Indeed, yeah. So they have that advisory role, if you will, where they can advise where those grants go each year. And like I said, they can do it at any time.
So they can be as proactive with it as they want or as little as they want?
Correct, yeah. So they can actually we actually have some donors who actually have a grant application. So we have a group called the Left Hand Giving Circle. It's a group of women who actually pool their monies together and make a $5,000 grant twice a year. And this year they are focused on teen issues, and then in September they're focused on empowering women issues.
Do you also take like maybe one-time donations of people that just want to support what you do?
Oh, sure, absolutely. We rely on some charitable dollars to do the work that we do, so we encourage people to give to our operating fund. And we also encourage people to give during Live and Give Longmont Day, which is the end of September 26th to be specific. We have 22 projects on our website that people can support, and we really want the community to come out and support. Doesn't mean you have to have a fund with us or a family or a business fund. It means that you can just support those organizations and the great work that they're doing.
What kinds of ways could somebody support without giving money then? Like volunteering?
That's really good. Yeah, exactly. We do have a need for volunteers on our grants committee. We right now I have to say it's a collection of about 17 people who actually get along really well, but every year we have to go out and recruit some new people to be on that grants committee. And it's a pretty, it's a pretty small group, a pretty small need, but a very important group that we rely on every year. We also look for board members, and also we have scholarship committees too that sometimes need additional people to review scholarships that we have. That's kind of the other pillar that I didn't tell you about, is that we have scholarship funds. One of our greatest initiatives is Ascend St. Vrain. We just launched that this year. It's an initiative to raise monies, approximately $1 million, to help fund middle-income students, lower middle-income students, the opportunity and afford them the opportunity to go to a 4-year institution, 2-year institution, a trade school, or a vocational school too as well. And we're very passionate about that because middle-income families usually incur the most debt when they're actually going to school.
Well, that and, college is so expensive.
It is. It's tremendously expensive.
I mean, it's the number one reason people get stuck in debt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So we're very passionate about that, and we really think that we can make a tremendous difference. We've already raised $60,000 towards this effort. Our first goal this year was to raise $100,000. We're still looking for people to contribute to that effort, and we're going to start giving out money next year, which we're excited about.
And how do people donate? Do they come here? Do you have a website?
Yeah, so they go to the longmontfoundation.org website. They can donate through that if they'd like to. They can also contact us if it's gifts of stock or some other assets they want to give to the foundation too that require a little bit more paperwork, so to speak.
Sounds good. When did you guys start? Like, how did this come about?
Oh my gosh, in the late 80s, we had a group of people who actually started the Longmont Foundation because they saw a need for raising money for capital improvement projects. So it was about the time when the library was being redone, and so the theater was also being redone a little bit too downtown. And so they saw the need to actually raise some money for that. Well, it petered out a little bit, and then the early 90s, the Better Foundation in Denver had this grand initiative to create one large community foundation that would be housed in Fort Collins. And while that was a great idea, it just really didn't pan out too well because, as you can imagine, if you're dealing with the communities of Greeley, Longmont, Fort Collins, Berthoud, Loveland, we all have different needs, and
Right.
we all split up. And so we decided to go our own way. We went under the umbrella of the Denver Foundation until 2014. We actually separated from the Denver Foundation and became our own independent community foundation.
So you mentioned like the Hour Center or these college grants. What other kinds of nonprofits do you support?
Oh gosh, it is wide and expansive. So it's anywhere from organizations dealing with health and human services, civic and education-related causes, animals, environment. It really is the full gamut of just about anything under the spectrum. The greatest thing is that when people apply, organizations apply, they need to be a 501c3 organization or under the auspices of some charitable organization. So we can't give to political interests. We also can't give to proselytizing organizations. We can give to religious institutions that actually have some sort of component that does good in the community. We just can't give out to missionary work and that sort of thing. So,
Right.
yeah.
Something specific that they're doing for the community.
Exactly. And actually a lot of nonprofits have been formed with the help of people in the community, of the faith community, and so that's something we still support to this day.
How much control do the donors have over their donations? I mean, you were saying that through grants and other things, could they just give you money and say, put it towards this, or?
They can. Generally speaking, we don't turn down a recommendation, so a donor puts money in their fund, so to speak, and then they grant it out, make an advisement or make a recommendation of where they want those monies to go. We do have to remind donors that, technically speaking, the money is ours because they get a tax deduction when they actually contribute monies to us.
Right.
To set up that fund. So technically speaking, we could deny a request. Now, do we deny a request? We don't unless it is illegal or, like they want to fund their best friend's neighbor. That's just not something we would do.
Right.
Or if if maybe the nonprofit is defunct or it's out of business or it just doesn't qualify for us to provide a donation to them.
And can you tell us a little bit about this Live and Give event in September?
Yeah, September 26th, Live and Give Longmont. We are encouraging the community to support organizations that have projects on our website. Those include the Longmont Senior Center. They're actually redoing the fire station on Lashley. It's an old fire station. They're making an intergenerational building out there. There's another one, Micah Homes, which is with the In-Between. They are doing a small project to add 6 housing units out by the church on 9th and Francis. And so they'll be able to have some affordable housing out there, as well as supporting some of the great things that the In-Between does. So those are just a few things that we have out there. But what we're really doing is we really want people to kind of give where they live. And if you will, it's like a mini Colorado Gives Day,
Right.
but for Longmont-specific organizations. And right now there's only 22 projects. We decided to start small. This is our first year of trying this. And we really wanted to see if the community could come out and support these projects. And perhaps if it's a success, like we think it will be, we'll move on to build out more projects and more organizations to participate for the subsequent years.
So you were mentioning about the affordable housing. Are there other groups that deal with affordable housing that you deal with as well?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Longmont Housing Authority, I'd say In-Between, of course, maybe Boulder Housing Partners. I mean, they actually, Casa de la Esperanza is another housing development we work with and have funded before in the past. Started out as a migrant housing project, and it's an affordable housing project where they actually provide some some instructions to kids during the summer and also during the school year. They bring in university professors, and those kids that are generally lower income who are in that facility actually obtain some really great lessons and learning from really excellent professors in the community.
Yeah, because housing right now is very small. It's limited. It's hard to come by.
It is. We actually have just a really interesting challenge, just because we are essentially boxed in by open space. That is something that we voted to obtain. We love our outdoors and we love our activities, but it also provides a problem in the sense that now we don't have much land to develop outside. We can't spread out, so we really have to look at strategically how do we build places where people can live and work in the same area.
Yeah, just like the one over on Long's Peak that has the shops on the bottom and apartments up top. I know they're thinking of building one of those down on 2nd and Main, I think, where the old turkey plant used to be.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily affordable, but I don't know if it'd be market rate or affordable. So it just depends on what the developer decides to do. But
yeah, because we're also limited by how high we can go. We have a height limit in Longmont.
Absolutely, and that's one of the issues with Boulder, Longmont, Boulder County. Actually, is we instituted height limits, and so you can't go out anymore. So your other choice is to go up, and you're limited though. So it's be interesting to see.
I was talking with the city council. I'm an ambassador with the Chamber of Commerce sometimes too, and they were talking about maybe increasing that height limit. But one of the things we were mentioning is, out here people want to see the mountains.
Yes.
And so you can't put a 6 or 8 story building right where the mountains are.
That's right.
So it's more of where you put it. It's
Yeah.
the most important, really. I would hope that they do end up going up at some point. They just regulate where they can be placed.
Yeah. Well, and this is a challenge that really it's worldwide. People are concerned about homelessness. They're concerned about affordable housing. And so we're no different than any other community. And probably the difference is the fact that we're still fairly young. Colorado's a fairly young state, and we don't have the history that Boston and New York did. But you can imagine in the day when maybe you could live in downtown Boston. Well, soon that didn't exist, so they had to figure out, okay, where else is everybody going to live? Okay, Brookline. Now comes transportation issues because we've got to get people from Brookline into Boston. I think we're struggling with those same issues. We've got to figure out how to transport people and get them to their jobs, because unfortunately we just don't have the area to develop as much housing as we would like to all provide.
Yeah, that's for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to tell Longmont?
Actually, probably more to pontificate about Longmont and its generosity more than anything. I think Longmont is just a great community, and for me it's remained a friendly place, which is great as the Community Foundation Director. I'd encourage it to continue to be a friendly place. It's a giving place, and that's absolutely why I love living here and love being the director of the Community Foundation, is that I get to work with some really great people that actually still are extremely generous to this community. And so we just want to continue that tradition. We just want to see it continue. And because the last thing I'd want really is for it to become a little cold and a little bit too pretentious. And I don't see that happening.
No, one of the reasons I loved living here, moving here, was that it was a large city. We've got everything.
Yeah.
But it still felt like a small town.
It does. Yeah.
Like everybody is friendly, and I can talk to strangers. It's not a big deal.
No, that's the thing I absolutely marvel at, is there's this kind of Midwesternism about Longmont, and that's not a crack or a dig or anything like that about Longmont. I love the fact that I can go somewhere and strike up a conversation with somebody, some complete stranger at a store or whatever, and waiting in line, and all of a sudden strike up a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, the closer you get to Denver, the worse that gets.
Yeah.
I used to live in Denver too, and it's horrible for conversation, at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love living here as well. Thank you very much for this interview.
Yes, I appreciate it. Can I add one more thing? I didn't do my third pillar. Can I add that?
Yeah, go for it.
So the third pillar really is we're here to support nonprofits. So we do that through training. We provide them free trainings each year. So those can be along the lines of fundraising or board development or maybe doing something creative like social enterprise that's creating a for-profit business, if you will, to support the mission of a nonprofit. So we recently did a session, a workshop on that. And we invite people from outside of the community and maybe inside the community actually provide those trainings. It's not myself, it's some expert in those fields and such. So
what kind of trainings? Like what kind of training do you do?
Oh, so grant writing specifically, that's one I will do. I have about 27 years in the nonprofit world, so I will talk about grant writing. We do some fundraising, like how to get boards involved in fundraising, or how to work with Constant Contact or some sort of email service, email provider to market your nonprofit. Those are sort of the things that we do, and just enjoy providing that service to nonprofits, because I believe very passionately that we should support the nonprofits and make the organization or that field as professional as it possibly can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, man.
And I appreciate it. If you guys would like to know more, I've got the link to the website, longmontfoundation.org, right, in the description below, so check that out. And I am Matt Steininger with the Longmont Observer. Thank you for watching.